Actually, this is not gonna be a basic vlog like I used to do in my car to test cameras and these things, but I want to prove you wrong. So stick around. Hello there, I hope you're all good and welcome back to my channel. This video is not gonna be like my other videos comparing camera settings and so on. I'm shooting today with DJI cameras for a reason, and I'm not shooting in auto mode for a reason as well, because well, I don't like when people start making categories for other people. It's not like I hate DJI, it's not like I'm bashing DJI, it's not like I'm biased to another brand. It's not about that. When I make my comparisons and when I try to show you raw footage of these cameras, just to give you an idea what these cameras are capable of, especially when you take them directly out of the box. But the truth is, lots of people started to put me in some places where I don't belong. And this is not me, to be honest. I don't feel comfortable in that. I use DJI products since a very long time and I like them. There are some issues here and there, that's normal. And even my work here as on YouTube to show you products, to show you the good things and the bad things. But unfortunately, people will only remember the bad things. This is something that is bringing views, to be honest. This is something that is beneficial for the view rate, the click rate on videos. But this is not the full truth, you know? Okay, so here I am again with the DJI Action 6. I'm shooting in fully manual. The white balance is fixed. Now I'm shooting at aperture f4 because I don't have any filters yet for this one. And I'm shooting also in D-Log M the exposure, while the shutter speed is set to 1/50th of the second, the ISO is automatic. Well, it's variable between, I think I set it goes up to 1600 ISO. So these are the settings. And well, this video is not about the settings. It's about how we can get nice footage with almost any camera if we know how to use it. Actually, there is something that is pissing me off recently, whether on YouTube or on all the other platforms, is that whenever you give your thoughts, whenever you show your preferences to something, people will think that you are against them if they do not share the same exact things or the same exact thoughts. And this is not really healthy, to be honest, because I try to show you footage so you can compare, you can decide by yourself without being influenced by me, by my thoughts. And after those videos, I give my thoughts, my initial reviews, and later on my review on a certain product. This is how I work, and this is how I think is best or is good for the audience, and to give the people what is really important, so you can decide by yourself whether this camera is better for you or not. But well, actually what is more important than that is not about the camera, it's not the specs, it's about you, the story. And I've been telling you that a lot in my car vlogs recently. Some of you are extremely interested in specs in cameras. Some others are extremely interested in the story and what you have to share, and the vibes and the advices and all these positive things, you know. I was not bashing DJI at all. I was not praising Insta360 on the other side. They are both great companies. They are both delivering great products. They are both having issues as well. But when I'm talking about DJI, is that because the hype about or around this brand and these products is extremely high. The expectations are extremely high as well. And now we live in an era where, of course, if you'd like to get the maximum out of a camera, and if you know how to use a camera properly, ISO, shutter speed, aperture, and everything else, of course you can go with a mirrorless camera. You won't be wrong with that if you know how to use it. Of course, it's not rugged, it's not weatherproof like these small cameras, but they will deliver an extremely interesting image quality compared to these tiny little cameras. Let's be honest and let's be clear about that. I enjoy using these cameras for many reasons, not for actions or sports, extreme sports, but I enjoy using them because they are small, compact. And now we live in an era where you have to be online a lot, you have to post a lot, you have to be present a lot on your social platforms. And having a camera, whether a mirrorless camera or any other kind of cameras, that will make you lose time editing, that will make you lose time figuring out the settings, the white balance, figuring out whether you want to shoot minus 0.3 EV plus 0.7 EV, whether the camera will let you decide, will allow you to put more time on the settings, on the configuration, rather than on the creation process, as well as later on the editing if you are shooting in D-Log or in any log profile. This is very limiting because you cannot create lots of content in that way. You have to create one and you have to pass lots of time figuring out how to make it better and how to edit it in the best way, and how to give this format the best out of you. On the other side, once you finish recording, you have to think about the processing and the editing, because of course you can use the basic LUT, but these basic LUTs aren't always good. So you have to work on your processing to reflect your personality. And for those who are shooting in automatic mode, with D-Log-M or any log profile. And I've told you that before. This is not perfect, this is not ideal, because okay, the camera will expose according to what it is seeing, but actually the white balance is changing, the exposure is changing, and your LUT is stable, it's not dynamic, so it will not follow the changes of your camera. Keep that in mind. When you are shooting in log, it's preferable to shoot in manual mode, manual exposure, manual white balance, so you don't have to adjust frame per frame your exposure and your colors in your timeline. And that's really something important to keep in mind, and that's something that I consider whenever I would like to shoot log, except when I'm doing some real comparisons between two cameras, two brands, and showing you just what you get out of the box. And I assume that most users, they need a camera where they can take it out of the box, put some few settings on it, dial some few settings when they get the camera, and then start shooting daytime, low light, highlighted areas, shadows, whatever, and to post in a regular way on their platforms with these cameras. I think this is something that is really important these days. Posting a lot. I'm not saying that quantity is better than quality, don't get me wrong. You can always share nice thoughts, but post them quickly, rather than sharing nice thoughts and putting lots of time in order to do that. For example, now I'm planning to get a MacBook Pro, M4 Pro probably, to be able to edit faster, because I'm planning to use my mirrorless cameras a bit more, and I'm planning to shoot in log. And on my laptop, actually now I cannot do that because I cannot edit quickly. I have to be at home on my computer at home to edit there, and I'm not always there. Whenever you are on the go, whenever during the daytime, I have some breaks, I can work on these videos, and I cannot always be on my desk at home working on my computer. So that's something that is refraining me now from making different kind of content. And by the way, even in my studio, I don't shoot in log. I shoot in normal color profile with my Sonys or Fujis. I apply just a basic adjustment layer, because when I'm doing those videos, basically I'm editing them at home. So I apply a basic adjustment layer just to take the saturation a little bit down. That's it, you know. I don't need to shoot log, and mostly I shoot in 8-bit and not 10-bit, because once you have your light correct, your white balance correct, well, you are good to go. Even in 8-bit, you won't have issues at all. And I don't do heavy color grades, you know. Basically, people are applying some LUTs from Artlist, who are the sponsor of this video, by the way. If you don't know Artlist, they have a huge platform where you can pick music, sound effects, where you can pick like footage, templates, anything that you would like to do in your videos. You can do that on Artlist. They have lots of AI features as well, voiceovers. You can create images, you can animate images, make them into short videos. Well, you have plenty of things that you can do there. If you join Artlist via my link, you will get 2 months for free. And if you'd like to join MotionArray, which is another category from Artlist, you get $50 off on your annual purchase or on your annual subscription. And for example, on Artlist recently, I took the photo of my mom that I took on my Fuji X-S20 before she passed away. And it was her birthday a few days ago. I asked Artlist to get this photo and to animate it with my mom blowing her candles in heaven with angels. And the result was fantastic. So use the AI in the correct way and do not over-exaggerate the use of that. Anyway, let's get back to this video. So the whole story about action cameras is that I have lots of action cameras. I use them all a lot. I have some personal preferences, and if you prefer something over the other, it's not a big deal. It's your preferences after all. You are used to work with that brand, you are used to work with that other brand. You know, for example, I don't feel comfortable using a Canon camera, although Canon are making great cameras. But I'm so comfortable using Sony cameras, Nikon cameras, Fuji cameras, just because I haven't used for a long time Canon cameras. That does not mean that Canon is a bad brand. You know, when I make some videos about DJI mics, well, the Mic 3 that I returned it, I bought again the Mic Mini. So it's not bashing DJI, it's like I had a bad experience with that, and I wanted to share that with you because I don't want just to make positive videos to share the good things about the product, but I also would like to share the bad things about the product. So if you are watching, if you trust my thoughts, and if you encountered the same issues, you know that you were not alone with those issues. And that's why I always ask, have you encountered these issues? Let me know that, so I know if it happened to other people as well, not only with my specific unit. And you know, this is where people are getting them a bit wrong, not everyone. But there are two groups now, the Insta360 group and the DJI group, and there are still some GoPro groups from here and there. And I feel that this is a huge battle between these two groups. Actually, this is not good, and it should not be like that. Whenever there is a new product, of course, I'll be talking about it a bit more, but the most important thing, once again, is the story that you have. Now, again, I'm still shooting in manual, and I didn't like the automatic mode on the DJI cameras, the recent ones. You know, I feel that on the DJI Action 4, for example, you have to increase the exposure compensation a little bit. And on the DJI Action 5, Action 6, you have to reduce the exposure compensation a little bit. And on these two cameras, as well as the Nano and the Osmo 360, we have the HDR and the face priority baked in, according to my experience with these cameras. And this is something that I don't like, because I prefer that if we have just the authority on the camera and not giving the camera the authority on us, you know, because this camera delivers, this Action 6 delivers extremely nice footage in D-Log-M in manual mode, but it forced me to use it only in this mode. And I said that when I got the Osmo 360, that I didn't like the normal mode, and whenever I'll use the Osmo 360, I'll be using it in D-Log. Well, I don't like when the tool is forcing you to use it in a specific way, while it offers lots of other things that are there, but they are not good, you know. Lots of people are showing some great footage of the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 of this DJI, and I got lots of people saying, how come you got this bad footage with the Ace Pro 2? Well, these were not bad footage. I was just putting these two cameras, same settings, basic settings, default settings, side by side. Mostly you might like this, you might like that, but I'm quite sure if you are watching this footage, and if I just swap them and not keep them like on the right we have this camera, on the left we have the other camera, but I'm sure if we swap them a lot during the video, you won't guess them, you know, because once we have a preference, we will stick to it. But if it is a blind test, I made that blind test last year, and lots of people were tricked, and I got lots of insults about that because they thought that I'm tricking them, I'm clickbaiting them. Well, it was just a test to test these preferences, and that's why I didn't do it this year, because I already tested that, and I know that if I swap the footage, you will be lost. You won't know which one is better, because you cannot follow anymore. You will say that this one here is better, that one is better in different conditions. So each camera is superior than the other in some conditions, in some scenes, and that's very normal. We don't have the same exact sensors, we don't have the same exact optics, we don't have the same exact settings, even though they are on zero. On the Ace Pro 2, I feel that the exposure compensation and the exposure reading is better than on DJI. You know, maybe because we have the authority on the camera with HDR, we have the authority on the camera with face exposure or matrix exposure that we don't have on this camera in normal color profile. In D-Log-M, well, you have nothing of those. You have to apply that manually. But I'm quite sure also that in D-Log-M you have that face exposure baked in. Maybe not the HDR, but the face exposure is quite baked in my opinion. Anyway, I'm not shooting with ND filters. I would love to get some variable ND filters for it because basic ND filters are good, but if the light around is not changing, and here it's not changing, it's like it was foggy in the morning and now the fog went up a little bit. Anyway, let's continue the walk, and I have to go check the MacBooks. Now I switched to the macro lens, always in D-Log-M, but now I'm shooting in 4K 50 because I took the shutter speed to 1/100th of the second just to have that 360 shutter rule. I'm so close to the lens and okay, although we have some blur behind. By the way, the f-stop, I took it to f2 because with this macro lens we can do that. We cannot do that with the basic lens. And now I don't know if I'm in focus. I put this lens on the portrait mode. Well, the lens on the portrait mode, on the face mode. So this is for vlogs probably. Later on I'll take it further away from me and test the other one. But once again, it's not about the test. I'm doing it because some people asked me to try this Osmo wide angle or Osmo macro lens on the Action 6 for vlogs. So here I am doing that. Let me see, because here we have more light. I should take the f-stop a little bit narrower. So now I'm shooting with an aperture f4 with the macro lens at about like 40 to 50 centimeters away from me, maybe 40 centimeters. And always in D-Log-M. And now I have it set to the furthest focusing distance on this Osmo Action 6. So this is what you can expect to have with this camera. When you have the macro lens, you don't have the variable aperture. You have to swap between f2 or f4. Of course, at f2 you'll have more depth of field, especially if you are so close to the lens. The thing that you will lose a little bit when you're shooting at f4. So, what do you think so far about what I was saying? For example, it's been like a few days I'm posting lots of videos per day because I was shooting in normal video mode, automatic and everything. But when you shoot with this kind of manual settings, well, I'm sure that I won't be able to edit this video today, especially that I have a live stream this afternoon and probably you are going to watch this video tomorrow. So the live stream was yesterday. Anyway, I hope you were there for the live stream. But yeah, you see, whenever you are shooting manually, you will get better results, but you will lose more time, especially in the editing process, in finding the best configurations. For example, if I'm shooting in automatic mode, I wouldn't have stopped many times to change the aperture, to change the shutter speed, the frame rates, and everything else. But yeah, if you want the highest quality possible, you have to invest in your time. But if you'd like just to share thoughts, to be consistent, to provide value, to share positive things, to share stories, well, it is up to you. Honestly, it's up to you. So, it's cold. Let's go back to the car. And I just took off the macro lens and put it again the standard lens. So cold today, although the last weekend was colder, but it's still so cold. I'm happy that I didn't forget my gloves today. By the way, I just discovered that when you are shooting, when you are changing the aperture on this camera, you are changing the focus distance. This is something very interesting because I'm quite sure that we will see very soon action cameras with autofocus or changing focus, you know, like this one, because the focus plane is changing. That means that there are some moving things in the optics that are changing this focusing thing, because on a normal mirrorless camera you can put the focus stable fixed at a certain position and change the aperture without affecting the focus. Of course, the hyperfocal distance will change or will vary a little bit, but yeah, now we are seeing a huge difference between 20 centimeters and 40 centimeters. This is a huge, you know. So I'm quite sure that some upcoming cameras will have autofocus, and I don't know, you know, the focus peaking on the acepro 2 with that lens, with the macro lens, and what I noticed here made me think that probably the next Ace Pro camera can have this autofocus. Why not? That could be interesting, unless DJI will release something before, but yeah, this opens lots of things to think about. So what do you think about this video, about what I said in this video basically, and about, of course, the image quality when you're shooting in manual, just like now, by the way? I'm quite interested to see your thoughts about it, and let me know also if you watched the live stream that I made, because I don't know, there are moments where I cannot follow where everything is happening on the live. I always miss some questions, I always miss to say hi to some people there, so excuse me if I forgot to answer your question. And voila, that's it. By the way, this section is recorded by the DJI Nano and not the Osmo Action 6. The Osmo Action 6 is basically here. It's here. So I didn't want to trick you, but just to let you know that the DJI Nano can make great footage as well in manual mode. I'm shooting in 4K 25, 1/58 of the second, white balance 5500 Kelvin. So basically, and the ISO is the only moving thing, or the only variable thing here. So yeah, just to show you that with any camera you can achieve the look that you find best, that you judge best for you, if you know how to use these things, these cameras. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you understood why I was making those videos, and I hope you won't categorize people because of their thoughts, because of their beliefs, because of their preferences, because we're worth way more than that, in my opinion. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Once again, thanks for watching, and see you on another one. Ciao.